So in this video, I'm going to share with you a very simple technique that you can use to tap into your intuition or your gut feeling to get guidance on a certain situation or a question that you may be experiencing. Now, the best way to use this technique is when you've got an either or decision, when you're at a fork in the road and you can make a decision either to go one way or to go to the other. Now, when it's a situation when you've got multiple different answers or multiple different things you're thinking about may not work as well, but I find this technique works really, really well when you've got two very clear choices. Now, for example, let's say that you have a situation where you want to decide if you want to go to Mexico or if you want to go to, let's say, Brazil on vacation. Now, what you would do is that you want to close your eyes and imagine yourself at a crossroads. And I use this for every single time I've got a decision to make, want to go one way or the other. And it's a way to tap into your inner guidance and your intuition. And I guarantee you, it always works if you're willing to trust the guidance that you get, right? So you imagine that you're at a crossroads. And there's two options. And then when you close your eyes, you can see yourself at this crossroads and you're at a fork in the road. One's going left and one's going right. And you look up at the sign that's on the fork in the road. And one way, let's say, is going to Mexico. And the other way is going to Brazil. Now, what you do is you continue closing your eyes. And then while your eyes are shut, you go, first of all, you go down to the path, which is on the right-hand side, which in this case might be Brazil. What you would see there, what you would experience there. And most importantly, how it feels in your body. Do you feel knots in your body? Does it feel tight? Does it not feel very good? Do you feel pain in your chest? Do you feel it in your throat? In my case, like if something is not really aligned with me, I feel like knots in my stomach and my gut doesn't feel that great. But you might feel it somewhere else in your body. But for me, it's a very visceral, strong gut feeling. But equally, you may feel that you feel like butterflies in your stomach, or it might feel really good and you feel really energetic and vibrant and revitalized by going down that path. So you want to go down that right-hand path, notice what you feel, what it is that you experience. It's not important necessarily the images that you see. Don't try to intellectualize the process too much or overthink it. Just notice where it feels in your body, because your body is the one giving you the guidance and the wisdom. Your body is tapped in to your subconscious mind and it knows. So, and then once you've gone down the right-hand side, you've noted it, you've experienced it, you've closed your eyes, you've observed how you feel, you go back to the start. And then you go down the left-hand side. Let's say you're going, in the case of this example, you're going to, let's say you're imagining you're going to Mexico. Once again, you're going to imagine how that feels, what you notice in your body. Do you feel any tightness? Do you feel any knots? Does it feel not negative? Does it not feel very good? Or do you feel like a light sensation, more energetic, more like butterflies, like good feeling, the feelings that you associate with something, a positive experience? And you'll know when you know, right? And so whatever that is, just notice it and observe it and then go back to the start. And then what you've got is you've got two very clear, usually when if you do this exercise right and you do it in silence and without distractions in the background, you notice two very clear observations. One of them will be like a very clear, I feel very good going down that path. Or the other one will be very clear, I don't feel very good going down that path. And without fail, unequivocally, every time I've done this exercise, and I've chosen the one that feels good to me in my body, it works out. But if I choose the one that doesn't feel very good for some reason, it doesn't work out. And because our intuition, our gut feeling knows things that we can't necessarily explain logically. Logically, let's say, for example, it may make sense for you to go to Mexico on vacation. It may tick all the boxes. Well, it may be cheap. The airfare may be better. It may be a better accommodation. It may be a shorter flight. It may tick all the boxes intellectually, but on an emotional gut level, it doesn't fit quite right with you. And everyone who's been on this planet for a long enough period has known instances where you've had a gut feeling about something and you've avoided it. And it turned out that because you trusted it, it turned out that it was actually right all along. And so what this exercise is about teaching you to tap into that, because you can tap into that at any time you want, but you just have to know how to tap into it. And this is a method or a technique, shall we say, to tap into that instantly. But the caveat here is that if you do it, you have to trust it. So when I first started doing this exercise, it was actually very difficult for me to trust it, because I would close my eyes, go back to the start of the fork in the road and then go to the left. Oh, okay, that feels good. And then I go to the right, but I really want this one, but it doesn't feel very good. And then I will go back and see if I was really right and see if it really felt the way that I felt, because I didn't want it to feel that way, but it did feel that way, right? So the key is that you've got to trust it. You've got to trust it. Whatever comes up, and it's happening for a reason. Whatever your mind says, that your mind will come up with all sorts of objections and say why it shouldn't happen and why you should trust this. Ultimately, I think that 99 times out of 100, if you trust your gut, even 100 times out of 100, if you trust your gut, then everything is going to work out well. And just think of it this way. Human beings have been on this planet for probably millions of years at this point. Who knows how long, maybe even longer. And we developed this internal guidance system from evolution. We've got this intuition. It works for us for a reason. It goes beyond intellectual thinking, because intellectual thinking about a situation isn't going to save you when a saber-toothed tiger comes out of the woods and wants to eat you. Your intuition, your gut feeling is get the fuck out of there, right? And when our ancestors listened to that gut feeling, they were the ones that survived. And natural selection meant that these people were selected for because they trust their gut and their internal guidance that evolution or nature gave them. So the problem is that in our society, we are taught to only rely on our intellect, our IQ, on the, memorizing things, developing knowledge, all of these things. And we're not taught about our emotions or our intuition and this internal guidance that we have. It's as if it doesn't even exist, but everyone knows that it exists. You know that it exists because you've already used it in your own life, but perhaps you haven't used it on a conscious basis. And so this technique is a way to use this and tap into this on a regular basis. The key, though, to understand the final thing I'll say about it, though, is that it's like anything. Technique is something that you have to learn to develop over time. You're not necessarily going to get it the first time. You might not trust it, but the more that you practice and the more that you refine and cultivate this technique, the more it's going to work for you.